We are live.
All right.
So welcome everyone who is streaming today's Facebook Live event. Today's event is titled CBD That Works, How OBX is Developing Products Your Customers Need Today. We want to start before hopping into the conversation by wishing you guys well during your social distancing time and health and safety for yourself and the people that are important to you in your lives. And my name is Justin Bostic. I'll be hosting the call a little bit today, and I'm a marketing associate here at Open Book Extracts. And to give you a little bit of background on the intention for this call is that OBX is really working to democratize and disseminate factual and educational information in the CBD space. And so this engagement and future engagements that we are going to be doing, the intention of these engagements are to educate the market, to educate the industry, and this is the first step along this journey. And if any of you have questions about the topics that we're covering today, we'd really encourage you to post any of those questions in the Facebook Live comments. I'll be looking at those on the back end, and we'll definitely queue those up to our speakers. So with that said, I would like to introduce you to start with our two guests today, which are Dave Neundorfer, our CEO of Open Book Extracts, and Phoebe Leppla, who's our Director of Product Development and Innovation here at OBX. So let's start off. Dave, could you give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself and a little bit of an introduction of Open Book Extracts for those people who are tuning in that don't know a whole lot about OBX?
Great. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you, Justin, for putting this program together. We're really excited to share our perspectives on the market and what we're doing at OBX. Again, Dave Neundorfer, CEO at OBX. My background is actually in the engineering space. So I studied to be a mechanical engineer, worked in the automotive space, making locking differentials for off-road GM trucks and engine valves for Honda and Toyota at manufacturing plants throughout the Midwest and the South. And through that experience, I fell in love with seeing how things are made, and then also fell in love with the stringent process that is quality control. I worked in an industry where a 1 in a million defect, which sounds like pretty good, is actually a catastrophic failure process and can lead to recalls. So that's where I cut my teeth on seeing how things are made and appreciating high quality control protocol. And then moved from there into the industrial automation software market, worked on a software startup, built that over a period of 10 years, and then sold it to a large Danish company. So engineering heavy background. How does that apply to cannabis, and how did I make my jump into cannabis? My home state of Ohio launched a medical marijuana program some years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And my business partner, Oz Hackett, and his mother, who's a doctor and she runs one of the largest independent family practices in Ohio, applied for and won licenses in Ohio. We won licenses to grow marijuana, to process it, and then we had 5 dispensary licenses. And that entity has nothing to do with OBX, but the reason I share that is because that was really my first eye-opening moment to the efficacy of cannabis treatment. And in our dispensaries, we had a wall full of high THC products and a wall full of high CBD products. And we couldn't keep the high CBD products on the shelves, even though our patients had the option for the high THC products. So both patients and our medical advisory board were all gravitating towards the non-THC side of the cannabinoid spectrum. And we were fascinated by entering that nascent market in 2018. This is pre-2018 Farm Bill. And what we tried to do was build a brand and then find some manufacturers who could do some white labeling production for us. And we would build a brand and we would find distribution channels. And at the time, and this is the middle of 2018, we surveyed the top 15, 20 manufacturers that had white labeling services and realized there wasn't a single supplier out there that we would feel comfortable with. from a safety standpoint, from a transparency of ingredient standpoint, from a quality consistency standpoint, and then of course from a customer service standpoint. So we took a step back and said, here's our wish list for what we would have in a white labeling partner and a manufacturing supplier. They'd have traceability, they'd be trustworthy and transparent. They would operate using GMP best practices, that's good manufacturing practices, it's an FDA protocol for ensuring quality. They would ensure through internal testing the quality and purity and product provenance for everything that they were selling us. And then of course they would have white glove customer service wrapped around their entire vertically integrated business. And we said, that is our vision, and we couldn't find it in the market. So we decided to go out and build it. And that's what we built with OBX. We have put together the list of what we call table stakes in our business model: vertical integration, GMP compliance, a great facility in Roxborough, North Carolina. And then the most important piece of the puzzle, though, is our team. We have a pharmaceutical grade production and quality control team. We have a fantastic formulation team led by Phoebe, and she'll tell you more about each individual team member. And then of course we have a customer engagement, customer support, sales support team that is available and online 24/7, offering white glove service to anybody who's either looking for CBD ingredients or looking for ingredients plus knowledge plus formulation support to enter the market or to more meaningfully penetrate the market. So we're in market now. We spent most of 2019 building the facility, building the team, getting all the equipment dialed in. We've been in market for about 5 months. The feedback is that our products are of the highest quality. When we send somebody a sample, chances are, it's actually a 72% chance that somebody will become a client of OBX. So our products speak for themselves. We're trying to live up to our mission of setting the bar high and kind of raising the threshold of quality in this young industry. So that's a little bit about me, about OBX. I do want to just quickly share some perspective on where we are in this industry. Did I successfully share this slide, Justin?
Yes, you did. It looks great.
Great. So this is what we internally at OBX call the evolution of the CBD industry. This is something called the Gartner hype curve, which starts with some trigger, either a technology trigger or a regulatory trigger. In our case, the trigger was a 2018 Farm Bill. You typically go through this pattern where there's a peak of inflated expectations. And that for us was 2019, where you saw this influx of farmers and geneticists and investors and lenders coming into this space. And it became somewhat fatified. And where we are right now after the 2019 harvest season is that there was a glut of product in the market, was a glut of biomass. And I think that that drove some severe and extreme price compression. And that led us to where we are today, which is right in the bottom of the trough of disillusionment. You can see that we are here in that trough. But we're really excited about what's coming next. And how we define what's coming next is we have CBD 1.0, which was pre-2018 Farm Bill, primarily a cottage industry. CBD 2.0 was that, hyped fatification of CBD, and you'd see CBD on cornflakes, all the way through CBD and condoms. I mean, it got a little crazy back there. Now things are settling out. We're going to see a shakeout of this industry. And what we'll find is a flight to quality. Whereas in the CBD 2.0 phase, it was a flight to price. Give me the cheapest CBD you can find. Consumers are becoming more educated. Brands are becoming more educated. Our clients are becoming more educated around what it means to deliver a high quality, highly efficacious product. And that flight to quality will define CBD 3.0. And CBD 3.0 will be driven by additional research on how at a mechanistic level CBD works in your body, It'll be driven by the return of retail once we get out of the COVID-induced social distancing. It'll be driven by regulatory change. I think that we'll first see dietary supplements open up in the eyes of the FDA, followed probably sometime after by food and beverage. And then on the banking side, we'll see easier access to capital. And then with all of those variables that are interdependent, we'll see brands, legitimate brands, large CPGs and retailers coming into the space. That is the reason that OBX exists. We're pulling forward and reaching out to the buyers of tomorrow who care about quality, who are going to raise the quality of this overall industry and the CBD 3.0 phase. And we want to do our part with that. So I'll stop there and hand it back over to you, Justin.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. So Dave gave a high-level update on terms of where the industry's at, who OBX is. I think this is a great opportunity for us to start diving it a little bit more into OBX, and a great time for us to introduce Phoebe. Phoebe is our Director of Product Development and Innovation, and this is kind of the focus of today's call, is product development and innovation, and different things that we have going on the product side at OBX. So Phoebe, could you share with us, you have a tremendous pedigree of experiences in your background leading up to your experience at OBX. Could you share some of those experiences high level and how that's really influenced your work in this new industry?
Yeah, absolutely, Justin. So just like product development, I also like to straddle the line between science and art. So I'm very much into music and theater and things like that. When it came to going to college, I ended up studying chemical and biological engineering, which really filled my passion for science as well. So first experience working in the field was really in manufacturing, in extraction, but for soybeans, because we certainly weren't extracting hemp back then, and further processing with those downstream, which gave me a taste and an appreciation for manufacturing. But what I realized was missing was that creative side. And so my longer engagement after that was doing research and development at the Clorox company out in California. So my first role there was really as a process scale-up engineer, working on Kingsford charcoal, actually. And so that's really a more heavily leaning engineering type role, but there was also formulation work and a lot of interaction with our consumers in that role. Additionally, I did packaging design for Brita water filtration and Armor All. And again, while there's a lot of science happening there, also spent a lot of time with consumers and learning about their needs and why they were purchasing our products and shopping the category. And lastly, learned how to do formulation and cut my teeth on the Clorox brand, working on cleaning products. And the consumers, between all of those, but they all have some things in common, and that's that they are looking to fulfill a need with the products that they're buying, but they're also looking to be delighted. So developing products that are both getting the job done and performing as expected, but also having that element of delight and surprise is tremendously important to the consumer. And so my key takeaway from that role was really just being consumer-led and not innovating for innovation's sake, but really to solve a need for the consumers, and also just continuously delight them as well. After working across all of those brands, I came to the East Coast, to North Carolina, to work on the Burt's Bees brand in natural personal care. And I ended up leading the skincare innovation, research and development initiatives, and sitting on the business team there. And all the learnings that I had acquired in my early Clorox days also applied here. And another thing that I would build upon that with is really just understanding what your brand stands for and why consumers will choose your brand over other brands. So for us, it was really about sustainability and being a trusted source in natural and being accessible. And so continuing to deliver on that promise is something that brand owners should really think about with their brands. It's what do you stand for to your consumers, and how are you going to continuously deliver on that and honor your promise to the consumers? And so why did I come over to cannabis? Well, as you've probably picked up on, I have tremendous passion for the consumers and making their lives better, and continuously filling those needs that they have. And so when I was hearing about all of the things happening in the cannabis science world and some of the early learnings that were coming up in terms of from anxiety to sleep to discomfort and everything in between. These are such relevant problems to today's consumer that affect a lot of people. So for me, it was really being able to nerd out on the science side of things, but also really being able to solve these problems that are so real in the world that we're living in today.
Thank you, Phoebe. And we are going to definitely circle back a little bit more into detail about the process of developing products for specific consumer archetypes. But before we dive into there, I would love to hear a little bit more about your team. Dave touched a little bit on the team being a big
Yes, absolutely.
of OBX. Could you share a little bit about your team in the introduction of some of the key players on your team?
Absolutely. So my lead formulator on the food side out of Cornell PhD food science program is Trevor Gentry. He's had some amazing experiences living all over the country and studying things from macadamia nuts in Hawaii to orange oils and extracts in Florida and everything in between. So he's had great experiences, and he also wants to give the consumers great experiences. And so, he's continuously helping take the consumer on a journey from everything from flavor development. He was a Givaudan employee and trained there on flavor development, so he comes up with some really creative, cool stuff, to using his technology and chemistry background to deliver some interesting form factors. So that's Trevor. We have Francesco Alagna, who hails from Italy and received his early chemistry training there, but came stateside and received his master's in cosmetic chemistry from Fairleigh Dickinson University. He has worked on great brands such as L'Oreal. He's also worked at raw material manufacturers, meaning that he has some great chemistry chops and really understands on a molecular level what is happening in your formulas. And he's also worked in the contract manufacturing world and understands that all clients have unique needs, and really listening and addressing those needs as we collaborate with customers on their developments. We also have Peyton Daly, who is an environmental technologist out of NC State. She has a broad R&D background, everything from studying ornamental flowers with Syngenta to doing some environmental consulting as well. She also has a tremendous passion for the consumer and loves delivering great experiences for both them and our clients that we're working with, and in terms of how we box up samples for them and how we explain the types of developments that we're doing. So she's a really great asset to the team. Additionally, an extended member of our product innovation team is our account manager, Ashton Hayes. She's has a neuroscience background, and her last stint was actually in the medical marijuana industry down in Florida. And she has a true appreciation for the science behind cannabis plants, and just in love with terpenes. So if you ever want to know anything about terps, she's our girl. So we absolutely love having her collaborate with our clients and with our team. She's kind of the bridge between the two. And as things are picking up, we are starting to bring new technicians into our team. We've got Zachary Elio, and he just joined us last week and is already up and running, learning all about our formulas and making them. So we're growing. We've got another technician coming on the way who hasn't quite come on board yet, but we're really excited to have her too.
Thank you, Phoebe. And such a talented team, most definitely. As we switch in here to a little bit more around the product development side of things, let's start off with the white label portfolio that Open Book Extracts has developed. There's been a lot of time and intention put into serving numerous different customers. Dave, could you share a little bit who a white label customer might be, and what this customer's company looks like, what their brand might look like? Who are we solving for here?
Yeah, absolutely, Justin. So what we've learned by entering this space and trying to be able to cover all of the bases for a brand or a company that's looking to enter the CBD market, of course, you need high quality consistently produced ingredients. But what we've realized is that many brands need some support understanding how to work with these ingredients, and support actually taking the first stab at formulating, their first lineup of SKUs for a product launch. And these companies can take many different forms. They could be, public CPG companies, all the way through large retail brands that you would recognize, through up and coming CBD brands, or even brands that are in an adjacent space, such as the pet space, that want to become more educated and start to put together a strategic plan to incorporate CBD as an active in some of their products. So there's a very broad range of different types of potential white label clients that we are serving. And with the team that Phoebe just outlined, there's really something magical that happens when you engage a company or a brand, and they see Phoebe and Phoebe's team that are just so ready and so prepared to give and educate and get creative. The R&D lab is literally the center of our facility, right next to the quality control lab. So our entire facility, you have all of these, really chemistry heavy processes that are very stringent and very data driven, and we're tracking every step and we're recording all of the data so we can provide that product provenance transparency. And then you walk into what we refer to as Fantasy Island, where Phoebe and her team are coming up with the next big breakthroughs, or getting creative with, mixing different ingredients for a specific client. And it's just such a fun and magical experience. And so we have been able, by offering that service, with a starting list of SKUs that white label clients can say, wow, that fits what I'm looking to deliver to my customer. It just really accelerates the process and starts what we hope will be a long-term relationship.
Awesome. And Phoebe, could you go into more detail about the process of developing the SKUs that we currently have rolled out in our white label portfolio?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say is developing a white label portfolio is a challenge in that you're trying to create something for everyone, right? So not all products are created equally. And not all consumers are created the same too, in terms of how they'll react to the products and what their lifestyles are like. So we try to create a variety of strengths, a variety of need states, and so, for example, for the cannabinoid curious consumer, we've created some very intuitive and straightforward products for them to get into these types of products for the first time. They're not intimidating, they're easy to use. So we've got creams in a couple of different strengths and fragrances, both in THC free and in full spectrum. So it's got a lovely texture. This is our soothing cream, and really we also recognize that not all consumers like the same flavors or fragrances. Those are kind of a personal thing. So we did try to get a variety into this portfolio as well. So that's one of our kind of basic products that your beginning consumer or your mature consumer can appreciate as well too. Also, we do offer gummies, which are a very straightforward way to take it. It's not intimidating. Gummies are a really common form factor now in terms of just taking vitamins and things. So pretty straightforward for folks just starting to get into it, or people who have these as an established part of their routine and just want a high delight version of these particular forms. Additionally, for our cannabinoid connoisseurs who familiar and use some of the more common forms in the cannabis space, we do offer a variety of tinctures in both THC-free broad spec and full spectrum in a couple of different flavors. We've got mint, we've got chocolate mint, and that's one of our strengths as well is formula. Is fragrance formulation. And so if we don't have it on the white label menu, we'll talk about it in private label. Additionally, we do have chocolate and fruit pâtés for those who want something a little bit more delicious and indulgent, way to enjoy their cannabinoids while still getting the benefits. And lastly, we do also offer a body oil that is 30 grams per milliliter, highly effective. It's a beautiful texture, comes in an amber bottle, black disc. But just, yeah, it's a gorgeous formula. So there you go. Don't be jealous. And we have this in a couple of different fragrances as well. It's a lovely formula for either massaging in or for good moisturization in addition to delivering the benefits of cannabinoids. You can think about for your athlete, we've got these same types of creams, but they've got cooling ingredients in them as well to really help target those areas of discomfort after a long workout, as well as some lovely balm products that, melt right on pickup and application. So those are really nice, and capsules too. Not everybody wants to do a gummy as a way to get an ingested form. So those are also a low barrier way. And then also for the we offer roller balls, which I absolutely love these. I keep them at my desk. We have these in both tea-free and full spec, and a couple different fragrances. And these actually contain essential oils as well to give an aromatherapy benefit, which, fun fact, aromatherapy is primarily driven by terpenes, which is a big benefit in the cannabis plants as well. So these are great to throw in your purse, in your backpack, or just leave on your desk at your home office or at work or on your nightstand. So, and speaking of on the go, we also an easy snap, which you can put a whole lot of different formulas into, whether it's finding something to put into a beverage or squirt right into your mouth, or even a nice on-the-go way to deliver a cream to put in your pocket. We really like this form factor for a lot of different things. So it's pretty simple. You just bend and snap. Hopefully that's not trademarked. So yeah, we've been working really hard on getting a variety of strengths and flavors and fragrances and forms, making sure that we're serving our clients who are serving a variety of consumers.
Thank you so much, Phoebe, for going into detail there with our white label offering. I think now would be a great time for us to transition and talk a little bit more about the private label process for developing a product that is unique for a brand, unique for a specific company. Phoebe, could you go into detail about the process of developing a private label product for a company who is interested in having something more custom?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like the consumers I've been talking about, the brands and people who serve them are also unique. So your experience in developing a product with us will be based on where you are in your product development journey. All private label clients begin with a consultation. They talk to our team about what's needed and where they are today. Some of them might come in ready to rock and roll with concepts, and they just want us to execute on those concepts, or all the way to suggestions for formulas, and we're happy to do that, and we'll still provide feedback on those formulas as we prototype them and see things in the lab. We've got some who come to us and know who their target consumer is. Maybe they're going after a retired nurse who has back pain and trouble sleeping, but they don't know what they want their brand to feel like. So where we might start with them is actually doing a different kind of prototyping. We'll perhaps do mood boards, where here's an example of one where we're trying to get across, like, what is the emotion and the feeling that you want to bring across with your brand in these products, because fragrances have colors, flavors have visuals, textures. You want to get the mood down first, and the feeling of the brand and the products before you can design against them. Others might come in and have an idea of the types of products that they want, but not the specifics. And so we might come up with some concept sketches with them, like, oh, here's a couple different ways of solving for this particular consumer need. And if we have a good idea of who their brand is, then we can also tailor the types of products that might speak to that brand. But either way, we start with that consultation. We'll get you prototypes along the way, whether those prototypes are mood boards or they're concept sketches, or it's a to smell and feel and touch, and give us feedback on. We will provide those along the way while we collaborate on product development.
Beautiful, Phoebe. Thanks so much for going into detail there. And for those of you interested who are on the call, we have launched our remote product development experience to continue to serve our customers and clients in a unique way during this a little bit challenging time with social distancing. And we're able to jump on calls virtually to support your product development needs and take you through that experience that Phoebe just shared. So I want to go in, though, to detail about the power of a prototype. Phoebe, you shared at the end there that at the end of this process, some brands will have an actual product in hand that they can touch, feel, smell. Dave and Phoebe, this is a question for both of you. Can you share the power of a prototype in taking, an idea or a vision of a company or portfolio to the next level?
Absolutely. So I think for me, from a very tactical level, works on paper, maybe even better in person, or it might fall flat of what you wanted. So to me, the power of the prototype is actually seeing this vision you had and this idea in the flesh to continue to build upon it until you see this thing that you can then communicate your vision more effectively to your consumers and your clients to get them excited about the products as well. So I think it's get to exactly physically what you wanted, as well as a way to get others excited and better express your intent and your vision when you're ready to do that with your partners.
Yeah, I fully agree, Phoebe. I kind of think about prototypes as a key that can unlock doors to capital, a key that can unlock doors to partnerships, a key that can unlock doors to distribution channels, a key that can unlock just the creative potential of being able to get an idea out of your head and either get it into a format that you can share with others and participate and build energy through that creative process. So it's such a powerful piece of I guess business acceleration or idea acceleration. And you can think about how there are these stories about how businesses were started with a very simple prototype. There's the Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs with their bubble gum and duct tape prototype for Apple. There's I don't know if there are any Guy Raz fans out there on How I Built This, but one of my favorite How I Built This episodes was Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, and she talks about the power of a prototype and how it unlocked her first distribution deal and then capital. So it's a really powerful tool, a key, to really advance your business or your idea or your concept.
Thank you to both of you. And I guess just the last question, I know that we're running a few minutes over for those of you on Facebook, but this is a question that we really wanted to address is if a brand or an entrepreneur wants to come and enter into the CBD market, why is the time now, and what does OBX provide them in their experience that is differentiated where they can really come in and feel like a partner and take their business to the next level?
Phoebe?
Yeah, I would say come partner with us. We've got a lot of insight into the consumer. Again, my bias is to please them first, because that's ultimately delighting them and delivering on their needs is how you're going to continue to be successful. You can get them to buy it once, but you want them to buy it again. And I think OBX can certainly help you deliver on that promise by holding your hand and working with you through the journey of developing great products and helping establish a supply chain for it involving our wonderful distillates as well.
Yeah, I agree. And in this phase of CBD 3.0 and this flight to quality, I think your supply chain partner is going to be more important than ever. And a good supply chain partner should be a turbo booster for your brand, for your business development efforts. That's why we exist. Everything we do is rooted in quality and efficacy and professionalism. And so if you are looking to enter the space right now, I think you should be thinking about quality and efficacy, and therefore you should be thinking about OBX, and we would love to help you out.
Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone who's tuned in on Facebook. And thank you to Dave and Phoebe for jumping on this live today. We really want to once again, extend our well wishes during this time with social distancing. We know that it's been a challenge, but we're all in this together. And we want to wish you health and wellness. So thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, you can feel free to leave comments in this Facebook post, and we'll come back to you on the back end and answer all of those questions. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Phoebe.
Thank you.